Welcome to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. Hello, guess what? It's me again. I am back for our 8th show today. I am pumped up and psyched for this. You are watching USA Global TV, or maybe you're listening on Business Talk Radio. Our show today is Pet Psychic Aminah, who's not here. She's on holiday, but we've got a great show for you anyway. We've got a special guest who has graced this stage before and always has amazing content and information to share. She's joining us from the great state of California. Let's bring her out. Alex Uttermann, hello.
Hey, hi Jacalyn. How are you doing?
Hi, it's so nice to see you and your beautiful smile and your glow and your energy. I feel it coming through the airwaves here.
Oh, good to see you. Yeah.
So, Alex, for folks who haven't been here before, it's hard to believe, but we're growing all the time. I'd love for you to share a little bit about your work as a global healing inspirational leader and tell us a little bit about the topic of radical self-care that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, great. So my background is I met a saint, a healing, miraculous saint, an Indian yogi back in 1999. And he had miraculous abilities, like dissolving terminal cancers in 5 minutes, manifesting objects out of thin air that he would give to students to then carry those miraculously infused objects into their healing practices, to spread the healing energy and create miraculous healings for other people. Once I met him in 1999, I went to India in the winter of 99. And then again in 2000 as a student training. I had been waiting for this kind of energy and this kind of information, I think, for most of my life at that point. And when I met him, he was 27 years old. It's unbelievably brilliant. And his stance was, yeah, I have supernatural abilities. It's true. So does every human being. And if you're willing to do the hard work to learn this stuff, I'm willing to teach everything that I know. So I wound up spending 5 years on his ashram in India, South India, learning exactly all the mechanics and the techniques and the mechanisms of how miracle energy healing happens. So it was kind of like a PhD in spirituality. In 2005, he released me as a teacher, kind of like PhD level lecturer and someone who is capable of training other people how to do this. And so that's been my work really since the early 2000s, but formally in the US again since 2005. So I've been at this a really long time. And the miracle healing is one aspect of my work. Teaching the systems that I learned from the ancient knowledge of South India is another side of my work. I have an organization called UCBK, which is the Universal Church of Baba's Kitchen. It's a training, healing, meditation, Eastern thought kind of church. And also we do charitable work, especially around homeless people, underprivileged kids, people in need, and our U.S. veterans. So that's a little bit of that.
That is outstanding, Alex. I love how much you give and how much you just help others all the time.
What else is there to do? Why else?
I wish that more people would think that, but we can only take our own journey, and we're both doing it, trying to help other people all the time, which is so important. Yesterday, I had the privilege of being part of an event. It was a week-long event, I think, about mental health awareness.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think when we talk about radical self-care and mental health awareness in the pandemic, and we read so many things about people are just burnt out, they're tired, they're angry, they're annoyed. There's all these polarized views about things that we have to take care of ourselves. So I really am glad that you're here today. Hello to Aminah, by the way. She's having a nice time on her holiday. We miss you.
I know. Enjoy Aminah.
Yes, enjoy. So what are some steps that we can take? And I also want to get into meditation a little bit later too, because some people are just convinced that it's not something that they can do, it's not for them. But what are some simple steps that people can take, and then we'll get a little bit more into it, to start with a program of self-care?
Well, this is such a good question, especially in this time of what we're seeing now as pandemic fatigue. And we're seeing it with our healthcare frontline workers. We're seeing it with clergy who are overwhelmed with mental health issues, mostly from their congregations. And whatever the ministry is, whether it's a Jewish temple or a Christian church or any other kind of, Buddhist community, whatever, the need is there. It's very intense and it's overwhelming the folks who are there to minister to people. We're seeing it with parents who have had to homeschool kids and juggle jobs. We're seeing it with people who want to get back in the workforce but really can't because their job is an in-person service thing and it's not safe in some places. Like this level of frustration and pandemic fatigue is pretty prevalent. And self-care itself, this is like a crazy making subject for me, because most of the things that I see about self-care, while they're incredibly well-intentioned, they're kind of like really good Band-Aids that don't address the underlying issues, the energetic, what I would call energetic issues that have brought someone to the brink of extreme overwhelm, stress, burnout, and even PTSD. So self-care measures are nice. They'll recommend, take a relaxing walk, go work out somewhere in a gym, or, do a fitness program, or herbal teas, a nice book, unplug from the internet, don't have your cell phone in the bedroom, all of this. And that's great. But even before the pandemic, like a third of Americans need sleeping medication to get to sleep at night. So we're already a very highly stressed society. Now you add a pandemic on top of it, and the thing is going off the rails for people. So I would really offer that these conventional types of self-care are not that helpful. Number one, they're time consuming, right? To work out for an hour after already doing a day job, or dealing with your family, or whatever it is that people are having to face every day. Adding more time to take care of yourself, which is usually we're often last on the list, right? Is onerous. And mostly my experience is people won't do it. Or they'll save it for the weekend. Yeah, but they need it now. They need it during the week. They need it while they're on the job, is my experience. And I really am a huge advocate for what I call radical self-care. And radical self-care means using some of the tools that I got from India and incorporating them in a daily, simple practice that's about as time-consuming as brushing your teeth, and can be done in many cases while people are working. And they don't need to take extra time to self-care afterwards. And on top of it, they're so efficient, these techniques, that they rapidly dissolve stress, strain, overwhelm, burdened feeling at the place where it enters us. So it's not masking symptoms. It's not like taking a pill to feel better, but the underlying problem that's causing the pain is still there. No, it goes straight to the heart of what's lodged in our system and gets it out. So I learned a number of very, very simple techniques in India, and I share them on a website called Energetics of Self-Care. It's using concretized, physicalized or representatives of the 5 elements of nature. In Vedic India, in ancient India, they would say the whole creation is made of these 5 elements: the earth, the fire, the sky, the water, the air, right? We see them in Western astrology. We see them talked about in native cultures. These building blocks of our creation are what even makes the human system. So my experience is, because we're living in a body that's formed of the 5 elements, right? We have bones, they're like dense earth element. We have digestion, which is a fire, right? We also have inspiration, a brightness, right? When somebody is alive, a little charming, twinkly, they have a little fire. Inspiration, pyros, from the Greek, is fire. It's built into the twinkle, right? The fire element operating in us. The water element, like our body is 75% water? I mean, that's incredible. You consider, all the blood in the flesh and the salivary, the reproductive systems, all of it. So our system is like a microcosm of our big earth, which is a compendium of 5 elements in a particular configuration. So my experience is using these objects of nature to connect to nature and what's behind nature, the divine energy, and to give the stress straight through the doorway of these little representatives of the physicalized elements that correspond to the elements in our bodies, where we hold the stress. And to get it out and do it efficiently and rapidly is radical self-care. It's not conventional. And it's so much more efficient. I was just talking with a friend the other day who's a marketing, brilliant lady. And she's picked up these tools. And she was saying, you know, I was just thinking again for like the 10th time, how rapidly this works. It's kind of unbelievable. And my stance was, yes, and I try not to be hyperbolic. I try not to sound hyperbolic about it because truthfully, I've never seen self-care techniques that are as efficient, that can cut to the chase, dissolve the problem at the origin point of the problem. And then the person can walk free from that particular set of stressors, more resilient, more able to face the next set of stressors that are probably right around the corner. And again, dissolve those through these very efficient tools that link to nature. So I don't know if that answers the question in terms of like, what can people do? But there exists a tool set that's unbelievably efficient, and you can actually use it while you're working.
Sounds tremendous, like something we could all use, including me. So,
yes, I'll give you an example, actually.
Okay, I was going to ask you for that.
Yeah. So, in the discussion of the earth element in our systems, you know, our bones, the density, the earth is the biggest, most gross representation of energy that we have, right? It seems solid. All solid matter, you could say, is like a strong expression of the earth element. So our big earth, we know, is a natural healer. And its governing force is gravity, right? Magnetism. Like if I drop something on the floor, every time it's going to hit the floor, right? It's a law of nature. We have gravity. The earth's nature is it's very magnetic. It pulls out pain and trauma for us. If we see like in films, you know, like World War II era, where the Italian mother gets the news that her son has died in the war, immediately she falls to the floor crying. Why? We have an automatic intuition to go to the earth for comfort, for healing, like that. So the earth is a little complicated also because it will pull out of us all the good high energy that we're trying to hold, especially if we're strong meditators. You don't want to lose all your energy to the earth every time you like lay on it or something. So rather than deal with the big earth, which is a little bit too overwhelming for our human system to handle, we can have a microcosm of the earth's energy in a black rock. Any black rock, any kind. You can get like a landscaping supply, little, you know, river rock, whatever. The only idea is that it should be 90% black. So not a gray rock. It can have little white streaks or lines, but majority black. Black is unique in this creation because it absorbs, as we know, energy, right? There's a reason why you don't wear an all black outfit on a hot day, right? It absorbs heat. You're going to be miserable. Or have a black interior in your car if you live in a hot area of the country. Same reason. Black absorbs. And a black stone has this unique property that it becomes like an iron filing to the huge magnet that is the earth. So automatically, if we hold a black stone, this is crazy. Let's say you had a really horrible day. You're really stressed. It's just too much. It's overwhelmed. Maybe there are physical symptoms that are letting you know you've absorbed too much from the people around you, the environment, your work situations, maybe trauma that somebody expressed, whatever. There might be a headache. There might be body pain. You might feel nauseated. We have a lot of physical symptoms that tell us, hey, we've absorbed too much pain today. We've absorbed too much stress, just even from being alive, from the atmosphere, from the people that we deal with, from our coworkers, from hearing someone's painful story, whatever it is. Our physical system will trigger us with actual symptoms, pain, especially, queasy stomach, can't eat, or obsessive thoughts, or insomnia, or crazy nightmares. Our own system is telling us, our neurophysiology is signaling, hey, you've absorbed too much. You need to dissolve it. You need to decharge it back to nature. So you hold the black rock, if it's been one of those days, And in the palm of the hand, there's what they'll call a chakra, an energy center. Energy can move through the hands. So you hold the stone, and there's a 2-part process that allows us to decharge, to dissolve the energy very quickly. The first part is this: thank you. A prayer of gratitude to whatever you consider the source to be, or if you're an atheist, to nature. Just thank you. It doesn't matter. You call it Jesus, you call it the universe, you call it God, you call it Buddha, you call it Mother Nature, who cares? It's all the same, higher power, etc. But thank you. Gratitude opens the heart, and when our heart is open, it means energy can move. So first thing, thank you so much for this little black rock that I'm holding in my hand. Number 1. Number 2, right now. Not 5 minutes from now, not tomorrow, right now. I'm dissolving, I'm decharging, literally pulling negative charges out of my system. Anything that I received today, that I absorbed from others, that's not my stuff. Whatever traumas, pain, overwhelm, stress, whatever, I'm dissolving it by holding this stone. Thank you so much. And then you're holding the rock for, let's say, 15, 20 minutes. The idea is until the symptoms come down. And you'll notice it pretty quickly, actually. It may be that it was an incident that occurred. Maybe someone really yelled at you, or ripped you a new one for some reason, and you're kind of shaking from that. You hold the stone. Think the 2 things, right? Thank you so much. Now I'm letting it go. And you can do other things while you're holding the rock. You've told your inner consciousness, hey, we're doing this thing. You don't have to hold it and hammer it, like, I'm decharging, I'm letting it go, I'm letting it go. No. You can watch something on YouTube. You can drive with one hand and, hold the stone with the other, etc. The point being that at a certain point, the symptoms will come down. Usually it's 10 to 15 minutes. Or the upset will go away, or the pain will dissolve, or whatever it is that's telling you, hey, we've hit critical mass and we really can't absorb anything more without going to pieces today. And you can get your life back. Because once it's gone, it goes through the black stone straight to the big magnet of the earth, and it's done. There's no need to wash the rock. No, it's done. It transfers straight to the earth. So, for example, I have a colleague who is she's a nurse at an inpatient or surgical center. And every day she was feeling like she was hit by a truck leaving work, right? Because a lot of cases and a lot of people and looking at a lot of surgeries and assisting there. She would have a black rock in her car. And by the time she drove home a half hour later, done. The whole work of the day, done. All of the stress, everything she received from the patients, done. And she was clean and clear and able to face the rest of her night without feeling dragged down, super exhausted, drained, emotionally burdened, and all the rest. So like that.
Wow. I love that. Somebody gave me... I hear myself twice. Somebody gave me a black rock, and they didn't tell me why. Now I'm going to go searching this house to find out where I put it. So, question I have: does the rock only last for so long in terms of diffusing the energy, or no, forever?
No, forever. I had the same one in my purse for like 7 years because I was like, you never know, right? I have another colleague who she's a psych nurse, in the psych wards. And she just kept it in her jacket pocket. The second the stuff would hit the fan, she'd be grabbing the stone, and decharging on the spot. So you can do it at work in a stressful situation. If you have a nasty boss who's really on you all the time and it's just enervating and makes you kind of foggy because they're kind of mean. And that we absorb those charges through our heart. That's the problem. So when you're trying to get them out, putting a Band-Aid on it, like having herbal tea, is not going to bring you down from shaking if somebody just reamed you out, right?
Right.
It's not going to do it.
Right.
It might pacify it, but that charge is still there. That negative energy is still in our system because it came in through the heart. We're very delicate at that level. And this, nasty thing just got in there. So to pull it out by its roots, very helpful to have a black stone. And again, like I'm saying, if you have a little one, this was kind of large. I have a lot of like little river rocky kind of things, like landscaping. Carry them with you. I know people who keep one at work, one in the car, and one by their bed. And so by the time they're going to sleep at night, they're holding their black stone to offload everything they picked up through the day so they can sleep beautifully. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited after I'm finished today. I'm finding that one or finding, it sounds like I can have a few of them. So,
Yeah, of course.
and the
Sure.
person who gave me the black rock also gave me a white stone. And I don't know what that was for.
No idea. Most people don't know the technology of the black rocks. In the West, we really don't know. But I've used this now since 1999 when I learned these techniques. It's unreal. And the thing is, it sounds crazy because it's so stupid simple. It really sounds crazy. I've taught this now for, 20 years. And inevitably, people in the workshops holding the black stone, like we give everybody a rock, they get their new best friend, their little black stone. And they're holding it and they're thinking the two-part thing, right? Thank you so much. And right now I'm letting it all go into the stone. And you'll hear people say, oh my God, my neck was hurting before and now it doesn't. Or they'll say, wow, my hand's really hot. Or the stone's really hot. Or, ooh, there's this weird itchy quality in the palm of my hand to the rock. What is that? Or if they're really sensitive, they'll feel the flow of energy coming through the arm to the rock. Everybody's different, but the point of it is it automatically dissolves it and brings us back to stasis. And for many people, we normalize the pain and the stressful symptoms that we carry. People think, yeah, I got home from work, I have a headache, I take a pill, it's fine. No, it's actually not fine. That's your own system reeling and telling you we've hit a level of absorbing pain and stress from other people that's not healthy. We need to get that out of the system, for example.
Yes, you've given us a lot to think about, and I really appreciate it. And I wish I had that rock right now. But
yes, well, you'll find it though.
Yes, I definitely will. We do have a couple of comments from Twitch, from Juice Unknown 187. Hello. Well, hello to you. Thank you for watching. And JU1CEMAIN 87. Hi. Hello to you. Thank you so much. We like to hear from people. That's really nice. When you think about radical care, and I'm thinking about the black rock, yesterday I left the house to go to an eye doctor appointment. It was the first time I left the house in 9 days. Oh. And I was all dressed up in a suit, and I felt like really overwhelmed because I haven't worn a suit in 18 months. So I wore it to broadcast, but then I left the house and I was driving in the car and I was getting very upset, thinking that I'm out of my safe environment. And I really was like starting to sweat, and I thought, you better get it together. So the reason I bring that up is having a rock at that moment, that could have
exactly. You can just decharge that stressful feeling. It's true also for anxiety, especially, which often is a result of a buildup of, absorbing other people's pain and stress and suffering. Over time, it really starts to show itself through, mental health issues or physical issues, or both at the same time. A lot of free-floating anxiety that we see can be simply decharged through a black stone, for example. There are other techniques through the elements that I discuss at length on the Energetics of Self-Care site, but it can be decharged immediately, and then that's it, it's gone. So the story around the anxiety, the looking for what was the trigger, none of that matters. It can just come right out of the system. It's like pulling it out by the roots, and it's gone.
It's gone, just like that.
Yeah. And so then this becomes like a daily maintenance thing in the way that you would brush your teeth, right? I mean, the metaphor is pretty good that you don't want the plaque to build up, right? So 6 months later, you get a nasty lecture from the dental hygienist. If you handle it every day, you're maintaining it in a perfect way, right? You have good hygiene. Energetically, emotionally, we want that same kind of hygiene. That's why I call it radical self-care, because it goes straight to it, it cleans it out, and it's done. It's really done. There's not that underlying, I did the bath. I can't really go and work out. I'm doing these things, but it's not really helping. And now I'm more stressed because I'm spending so much time on self-care. It's kind of a vicious cycle, that perpetuates itself. The self-care time and the idea of having to do it is kind of intimidating in its own right. And then people don't do it, and then they feel like crap, and then they beat themselves up because they feel like crap, because they should be doing these self-care things, but the self-care things are time-consuming and more stressful. it's a mess, especially with pandemic fatigue. And I want to say too, people who are on social media, we're absorbing a lot of stress from what we see there, from the interactions that we have with people, from, let's say you put a post on, a social media site, whether it's Twitter or Facebook, and then a lot of people pile on and call you names. We're receiving that energy, whether we notice it or not in the moment. And that also, we will absorb that. We need to get rid of that, because otherwise that's going to contribute to the physical body aches, or the nausea, or the feeling of disease inside, or the free-floating anxiety, or the inability to sleep at night, because we keep chewing on this thing like, oh my God, what is it? Right? But straight to the chase, give it to the big earth. The big earth is a huge healer through this little, microcosm of the big earth, a black stone. And it's done.
So
and you might have to do it 10 times a day if things keep
free.
Yeah.
Thank you for that tip. That's a great one.
Yeah.
And Alex, you talked about your friends who are frontline workers and your clients and people you work with. And then also on the other end of the spectrum, we have people who are in the home quite a bit. And regardless, everybody still needs some self-care. I want to go into the whole idea of meditation and how meditation can be a tool. And if you could lead us through why meditation, I should say why it exists, but what is meditation and how does it transform us? I know that's a big topic, but
wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, one thing I want to say before a larger discussion of meditation is, with respect to radical self-care, there is a way to meditate in the workplace or throughout the course of the day that adds to your own, how to say it? It like creates a protection around you and a kind of extra resilience, so that if you do these particular techniques throughout the day, like as a background thought, it doesn't even have to be like a big formal, you don't have to sit in a formal meditation, eyes closed in some position, but there's a way to meditate effectively that is constantly building a kind of, for lack of a better word, really angelic protection around you, which means by the end of the day, you've absorbed less stress to begin with. You have less to, let's say, decharge to a black rock or the other techniques through the elements. So that kind of meditation, which I consider radical self-care also, involves a mantra. And that technique I teach on the energeticsofselfcare.com site as well. My vision is to get these two sets of techniques, the dissolving or decharging stress and overwhelm and burnout techniques, and the what I call integrative meditation you can use anywhere, anytime, and immediately start to dissolve the stress as well. I want to get those out really strongly to the world, because I see people are really suffering, and it's unnecessary. The challenges are there, the difficulties are there, but we can actually use these kind of radical tools to bring ourselves constantly to a state of calm. So that's one angle of it, using meditation for really radical self-care, even in the workplace. And nobody has to know you're doing it, because it's a background thought. But it increases our strength inside. It solidifies the core. It makes us super resilient. So no matter what slings and arrows are coming, we're better equipped to deal with it. Meditation in general, why do people meditate? If you ask 100 different people, you'll get 100 different responses about why. It might be they want to be calmer. It might be they feel less stressful when they meditate. It might be they have some idea of a spiritual connection. It might be wanting to know themselves more. I mean, there's really so many reasons why people meditate. And there are also many techniques, of course, how to meditate. I've pretty much done them all. I can say eyes open, eyes closed, staring at a wall, just watching the thoughts, counting backwards from some high number, or guided visualization, whatever. There's so many. For my research and what I know over the last 20 plus years of meditating, the most effective way to meditate is through mantra. And when I say mantra, I don't mean like you made up an affirmation for yourself in English or your native language, whatever it may be. We're talking about highly, highly impactful, divinely powered small syllables, usually from Sanskrit, that carry a divine energy. It's like a divine energy package that your mind is using, my kitty's yelling, to repeat over and over again in the system to create a kind of divine structure in your system that helps to throw off stressful things or past traumas that are in our system that shouldn't be there. That helps to clear away so that our connection to the divine is more solidified and more pronounced and more accessible. So like when I meditate to make my inner works, the soul, the essence, stronger, so that I can do what I have to do in the world, less buffeted around by circumstance, less reactive and more active in a powerful, spontaneous, or simple way. And I also meditate in order to connect very powerfully to the divine. You call it the universe, call it God, call it whatever, Jesus, Buddha, Mother, it doesn't matter, again, the name. But to make that conversation between myself and the cosmic intelligence more conversant, more vibrant, and more accessible. So that, let's say I meditate for 20 minutes in a really high consciousness way, sitting right at the source energy, great, fine, it feels great, of course. But when I come into the field of activity, in the field of a normal life, like I have responsibilities and I have websites to maintain and I have people to interact with and I have bills to pay and all these things, I'm bringing that cosmic intelligence, that more activated, more vibrant relationship with the universe, or whatever you want to call it, into the field of activity. And so everything's a lot easier, a lot smoother, a lot more focused, and a lot more creative. So there are a lot of reasons, I think, to meditate.
Thank you very much. I also am a meditator, and I'm also a meditation coach, and I really find the value in it. But there are many people who have said to me, I don't have the time to do this, and I feel weird. I just feel strange meditating. It doesn't make sense. What am I supposed to think about? And so, and then there's some people who will say that they're meditating while they're driving, or they're meditating while they're walking. So can you address some of these, I don't want to say inconsistencies, but maybe some of these topics that people have brought up when it comes to meditating?
Yes, well, it's a tricky subject. So, the big enemy in meditation is the mind. And what we're doing in meditation of any kind, let's say a formal meditation, right? I'm going to sit and formally meditate. Okay, that upends the entire thrust and focus of our Western society. Our Western society is everything's outside. It's all expressed. It's all outside of us, right? We go to entertainments. We go to our jobs. We look to other people for advice and guidance. We are so expressed and so busy in the world that when you're going to pull the plug on that, sit down and actually confront yourself, that's a big challenge right there. Just to sit quietly for 20 minutes. I don't care what technique you do. That's intense for a lot of people who have never had to do that, right? So yes. Number one. Number two, how do I meditate? Oh my God, I must be a bad meditator because my mind is full of thoughts. Okay, yeah, well, welcome to the human race. Nobody escapes this planet without having a crazy monkey in the head. That's how they call it in the Eastern traditions. They refer to the mind as a monkey, and with good reason, because the mind jumps from branch to branch to branch to branch, constantly in motion, looking for something. If you watch monkeys, and I lived in India, I had ample opportunity to observe their behavior. That's what they do. They're constantly on the move, jumping, looking for something. Maybe they can grab a banana that's not theirs. Maybe they can see a girl monkey or a boy monkey and get together. Maybe they can steal someone's glasses and trade it for some food. Or they're just playing. They're just having fun, but they're always moving. What are they doing? They're looking for something entertaining. Something that's really charming, something that really captures their attention. Our mind is the same way. If you just watch your thoughts, they're like, they're jumping all over the place looking for something interesting. And it may be like in the case of a stressful thought or a recurrent kind of anxious, obsessive thinking pattern, that's actually very entertaining to the mind. The mind's like, ooh, there's drama there. Ooh, I'm going to keep thinking about that thing. right? Or it might be, okay, I'm going to sit quietly, but now, oh my God, I have to do the laundry, and I have to think about this grocery list, and I have these projects at work, and I have this conversation with someone, and this, and the mind is jumping all around. So how do we deal with that monkey? Number one, everybody has it. The meditation traditions that say, oh, just clear your mind, this is complete nonsense. No, I'm sorry. Especially in the beginning stages, not possible. It's not even a goal. Forget that. Everybody is a good meditator. We did it naturally as babies. We just don't remember. So the deal is this, and I would say from where I sit, the most effective way of meditating is using mantra. There have been tons of studies on the neurophysiological effects of mantra meditation, specifically through a lot of medical schools and universities. And they are consistent on this point that the body, with 20 minutes of mantra meditation, that's to say just repeating a mantra over and over again in the mind, the physical body relaxes to the point that it goes to a deeper place of rest than we do at our deepest point of a full night of sleep. So it's incredibly efficient to the human system to like go into that kind of meditation for 15 to 20 minutes. It has a lot of health benefits. It has a lot of restorative and healing benefits to our whole system. But let's say I'm starting with a mantra. Let's say I had a really stressful day and my mind is right? That's where I start meditating. I'm not going to do some process to try to get clear, because I can only meditate if I'm in a pristine, clear environment. No. If you can hear yourself think, you can meditate anywhere. And you can meditate really deeply anywhere. So let's say we introduce the mantra. Let's say it's a simple, like Om, very simple mantra. So here's my mind, ding, 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 on the surface level, and I introduce Om, and I'm just thinking Om, and I'm repeating it, Om, 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 and the mind is, it's having all its chatter, looking this, that, like the monkey that it is. Fine. But at a certain point, the mind says, oh, that's kind of interesting. That syllable has some charge to it. I like the energy there. And the mind is willing to step down in the repetitions of the mantra, kind of like going down a ladder, the rungs of a ladder, step by step by step by step. Om, 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 Om. Here's the crazy thing. The thoughts can be there in parallel with the mantra or with the meditation technique. The thoughts are no obstacle to a successful meditation. That's what I'm trying to say. At a certain point, it may be that the mind transcends itself. Literally, like goes into a trance state because of the energy of that mantra, and there's a blank. There's nothing there. There's no thought. There's no mantra. There's nothing. It feels like there's nobody home. It might be a few seconds. It might be a few minutes. You might be there for an hour. You can't tell. There's timelessness in that blank. Often people think that they're falling asleep when they're beginning meditators in this kind of using a mantra. You recognize it when you come out of it and you're like, oh my God, where was I? And now it's like tons of thoughts. Oh, so many thoughts. So many, many, many thoughts. A whole barrel of monkeys in the head. And then you think, oh, wait, I was meditating, right? Oh, yeah, I have a mantra. And you just kind of go back to the mantra in a kind of innocent way. That release of thoughts is literally a release of stress from the system. Mechanistically, what happens is when you do, and this is specific to mantra, mantra takes your mind down, takes your consciousness into a more expanded place, a deep state of rest, deeper than your deepest point of sleep. When we go to sleep, we throw off stress from our body. It's our natural healing mechanism. When you're in a meditative trance like that, and it's deeper than your deepest point of sleep, all kinds of stress comes out of the system, and we experience that as thoughts. That's how our neurophysiology translates the release of stress. So the thoughts in meditation actually are a really good symptom that the meditation is doing what it's supposed to do. It's stirring up stuff in the deep level of our neurophysiology and helping it push out of our system. And we're experiencing that as thoughts. So it's very confusing if people don't explain this. And a lot of meditators are not aware of this. So they're thinking, oh, I'm a bad meditator. I can't sit. I'm restless. I'm just thinking the whole time. What is the point? I will say this. When they did the studies on especially TM, transcendental meditation, back in the 70s and in the 80s with all the medical institutions and the medical schools, universities, and so on, they would hook up the TM meditators. It was a mantra practice to, like EEG, EKG, galvanic skin response. They would track their respiration, all the different physical and neural physical indicators of what's going on in the human system. So the guys in the lab are studying the meditator as a subject in the other room who's hooked up to all the different things. And they could tell the different states prior to studying TM meditators. There are 3 distinct states based on brainwave patterns, based on breath or per minute and other physical factors, which are sleeping, waking, and dreaming. These are clear different states in the human system. And they're identifiable simply by watching the patterns of the EEG, EKG, and so on. Well, guess what? They found the 4th state when they studied the TM meditators who were using mantra. They found this, what they called the transcendent state, which was a completely different pattern from the previous 3 states that modern science had already identified, which is funny because thousands of years ago, Patanjali talked about this 4th state. He talked about waking, sleeping, dreaming as distinct consciousness states, and the 4th state, Turiya, which is this transcendent state. Okay, so I had friends who were some of the meditation subjects in those lab experiments, and here's the crazy thing. They would say, because they were in there day after day after day being measured and researched on as the meditating guinea pigs there, they would say, yeah, some days you have a great meditation. It feels like, oh, it's so deep. You're just in this blissful place. And other days it would be like, nyang, 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 the mental chatter for the 20 minutes. And they would think, subjectively, oh, I didn't have a very good meditation. Interestingly enough, all of the indicators of brainwave state, respiratory rates, which are very, very, very low during this kind of meditation, because your body doesn't need that much oxygen because it's making very little demand on the system. Even the heartbeat, which is normally like this, goes down like to 2/3 of it. It doesn't need to pump so much blood because you don't need so much oxygen. So your metabolism is slow. Like all of these factors are there. Those were all identical, whether the person thought they had a great meditation that day or they thought they had a chatty Cathy meditation that day. In other words, our subjective experience of what we think a good meditation is worthless. If you're doing your meditation and the thoughts are coming up, the idea is, so what? So I'm having thoughts. They can be over here, on camera. They could be over here. And my meditation process, especially mantra, is over here. And I'm focusing a little bit more on the mantra. I'm aware that the thoughts are over here playing their little, fine, no problem. So the advice is you take it as it comes and you don't make a big fuss out of it one way or another.
Wow, that makes so much sense. And that takes a lot of pressure off of us, that we don't have to evaluate ourselves and give ourselves a score. You got a 7 for your meditation.
Exactly, right? The judges say, no. And, I think in the Western mind, especially because we are so very cerebral, we want to figure it out. We want to judge it. We want to make it. And unfortunately, most people, they want to judge themselves harshly. I'm less than. I'm not good at that. And, hey, number one, it's a new skill, right? So you're not going to be perfect at it. And secondly, it's a skill that defies the mind. So the mind is really disoriented when it comes to figuring out meditation. It doesn't have much of a role there. It's a monkey.
You've given us so much to think about and so much wonderful content. I hate to ask, but I'm going to. Would you mind leading us through a mantra or some kind of meditation before we close out today?
Sure. Yeah. How much time do we have?
My next show starts in 11 minutes.
Oh gosh, we've got a little bit of time.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, I'd love to do that. So let's take the mantra is Om. I mean, that's the easiest, oldest mantra on the planet. It is also the source of the word Amen. Om itself is containing, it's very interesting. When they say it in Sanskrit, it sounds like 3 separate syllables blended into one. Aum, like A-U-M, Aum. We don't have so much of a diphthong in English, so we say Om, right? O-M. But that A-U-M, Aum, is 3 parts of the cosmic intelligence, you could say, or the God, the God energy, the generating, the operating, and the destroying, which are the cycles of what happens in our planet constantly, right? We live in a world where everything is ultimately temporary, whether it's a blade of grass, a human life, or an empire. They generate for a while, then they operate for a while, right? It could be hundreds of years in the case of large systems operating. And then eventually there's a destruction cycle. And after the destroying aspect, then again comes generating again. So it's always a circle. You know, they think of it like a triangle, the God, generating, operating, destroying. All of that is contained in the Om. All of it. The beginning, the middle, and the end, and then again the beginning, and the endless cycle of how the energy is created over and over again. So that Om is not a small, it's not a small mantra, actually. It contains like a whole universe in it. So my advice is, you know, everybody just sit comfortably, close your eyes, notice where your mind is. It's fine, wherever it's chattering around, great, fine, who cares? And simply start to introduce the word Om in your mind. Just let it be there in the midst of the crazy chatter. And then just repeat it effortlessly in your mind over and over again for, let's say, a couple minutes. And have, as you're thinking the Om, an intention. What would you like to experience in this meditation? Maybe you'd like more peace of mind. Maybe you'd like to connect more to the universe. Maybe you have a problem that's running in your life right now. It's challenging and you'd like to see a good solution for it. Whatever it is, just take that into the meditation and just gently think the Om over and over again. And then like in a few minutes, I'll sing a little, like a closing prayer to signify we're coming out of it. And be innocent. Let it run however it runs. Your job is just to have the mantra there, and the thoughts can be there as well. Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May all beings be happy and blessed. And may the energy we generate here go to the whole world to create peace.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Easy,
Thank you. I really needed that.
Natural. Yeah, right. And the crazy thing, like with the Om, people can take that into their workplace. You can take that into your day. You talked about people driving or walking, and calling that a meditation. My general feeling is it's good to have a mantra in there somewhere to be building the inner strength at the soul level, and adding that to the other thoughts or the experience or the silence or whatever it is that people's technique is. They can use the Om. You can be in the middle of your workplace and just have the Om running as a background thought and see the difference. It helps keep things clear. It's
Brilliant.
Stupid simple.
Well, you have done wonders for me today. Thank you so much. You have a very pretty voice, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In India,
Alex, it's such a pleasure to have you, and thank you to Aminah for introducing you to me. And again, Aminah, we miss you. I'm going to spotlight you. If you can share how people can get in touch with you, people want to work with you, they want to be your clients, and who should reach out to you.
Yeah, so if they'd like to, hi everybody, if you want to find out more about radical self-care techniques that are stupid simple, the website is energeticsofselfcare.com. And there are two, if you sign up on the mailing list, you get 2 free introduction videos about the 2 separate techniques that are the easiest, most efficient self-care techniques that I've ever seen. And I've researched it pretty thoroughly. So there's that. You can get those, they're small training series. I made them very short, bite-sized pieces, so highly stressed people don't have to stress getting a stress technique. Once you learn them, you can have them for life. And so they're really, really, really helpful. So that's Energetics of Self-Care for the radical self-care techniques. The second aspect of my work, I do a lot of healing, private healing sessions. We also do live streamed healing fire ceremonies from LA, but they go worldwide, and training healers. If you think you would like to do healing work at any level, I do a lot of these kinds of webinars and, explaining a lot of things and putting people in very practical, very deep meditations to gain energy, to be able to use it to help others. And that work is at ucbk.org, also called the Universal Church of Baba's Kitchen. So you can find me in those 2 places. And of course, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. Come find me. Let's connect. And I'm always happy to help everybody.
Oh, you just have such a beautiful energy about you. So thank you so much for taking us into the weekend with this black rock. Get your black rock, give your gratitude, and then release your, tell me again, what are we supposed to say?
2 things. 1, gratitude. Thank you to the source or to nature or whatever for making this earth element black rock that I'm using right now. So thank you, part 1. Number 2, right now, I'm letting go, I'm dissolving, I'm decharging whatever pain, angst, stress, overwhelm, whatever negativity I've been exposed to today. I'm just releasing that right now. And then you're holding the rock 10, 15 minutes generally, or until you feel the distress calm down.
All right, there you have it, folks. And if you missed any of the show, you can go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV. Thank you, Alex. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Jacalyn. Great to see you as always. And enjoy the weekend.
Thanks, you too.
Bye for now.
Goodbye. Bye. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching and engaging. I'm watching on social media. I really appreciate it. And again, hello to Aminah. We'll look forward to having you back next week. Thank you to Alex. And now our next show coming up is going to start any minute. It is Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity. Thank you again for being here. I look forward to seeing you literally in minutes. Bye.